Hello everyone. How are you all doing? I wanted to come on here. We'll see, it's kind of windy here, but I wanted to come on here and talk about the Saturn-Sun opposition that's happening right now. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius. Saturn has been in Aquarius now for a bit, so it actually started, I want to say it was May of 2020. Somewhere in the spring of 2020, Saturn moved into Aquarius and has been shaking things up there ever since. We had a lot of transitions with Saturn already in Aquarius. One of the main ones was the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that we had, and the Saturn square Uranus that we had last year, and actually just recently had, not exact, but with this full moon it really highlighted that square to Uranus. So we've been experiencing, it's not like a new feeling, this Saturn in Aquarius. Hi, if you're just joining. It's not a new feeling, the Saturn in Aquarius, but what's happening today is that the Sun is opposing Saturn exactly at 21 degrees, Sun in Leo, and then Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius. So you really want to look at this axis in your chart and what it highlights, where it is, and to understand if you have planets or placements either close to that degree in any of the fixed signs, but especially Leo, especially Aquarius, and then Taurus and Scorpio. It's getting activated. And when you have any kind of Saturn square or Saturn opposition to any planets in your chart, it's intense. And then added to it is the Sun. So the Sun is our conscious awareness. So right now our conscious awareness is really highlighted on what beliefs we had about our limitations. It also can highlight places where we don't feel good enough, strong enough, pretty enough, good enough. It's another word. Like all of the things that we don't feel enoughness in, smart enough, all those things, it can really highlight that in your life. And it gives this opportunity for your conscious awareness to see and recognize those limitations. So even though it doesn't feel good, it's a really important process in the evolution of your consciousness. So today is a day to really see and look at and understand where you are limiting yourself, where you've been conditioned to limit yourself. And then you also want to look at, it's windy here. I don't know if you can hear me okay. You can type it in the chat and let me know if it's if this is working, the setup, if you can hear me. But you want to look at that, and then you also want to look at that in relationship to your own Saturn placement. So where is your Saturn placement? Is it making some relationship to the Sun or Saturn? Because that's going to give extra significance if it is. Okay, so that's all happening. A little low. Let me see if I can turn it up. Okay, so that's all happening. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Paige. Hi, Anastasia. So happy you could join me. So that's all happening, and we can actually, if you have a telescope, or you might even be able to see with binoculars, you can actually see Saturn in the early evening or the early morning, opposite where in the early evening opposite where the Sun goes down. So we just had Saturn conjunct the moon, and the moon moves so quickly that the moon is no longer exactly opposite the Sun. It's after the full moon, but that place, that opposition place, is where Saturn still is, and actually is becoming exact to the opposition of the Sun. So our conscious awareness is highlighting limitations and lessons. And something that I noticed coming up a lot in sessions with clients yesterday was it can bring up issues around authority, teachers, mentors, authority figures in your life, not necessarily parents, but it can, and especially whoever in your family took on the fatherly role or the paternal role. This isn't necessarily your birth father, but it could be a stepfather, it could be your mother, it could be a grandfather or grandmother, but like looking at who represents that kind of authoritarian figure, or who did when you were growing up, anywhere, that voice, that restrictive part of you is still living on, has taken that strong restrictive voice of the authoritarian figure and has become your subconscious inner critic. Now, this is really an important process in the growth and self-actualization process, because if we're not able to see where these beliefs or conditions that we've put on ourselves come from or originate from, then we can't really clear them. So I was taught by a beautiful mentor that in order to heal something, you have to see it, right? And in order to see it, you have to acknowledge the places where you had to take on that authoritarian voice for yourself in order to not get in trouble, in order to not be abandoned, in order to thrive, and to have compassion for that part of yourself, and to have compassion, of course, for whoever the authoritarian figure in your life at that time was, because they didn't know any better. Obviously, when we know better, we do better. So that is what we want to be aware of. And I take people through this beautiful process. We just had our Activate Strategy call yesterday, and we went through like where these beliefs originated, where they come from, having compassion for that part of yourself, giving that part of yourself what it needs. It doesn't need judgment. It doesn't need fear. It doesn't need criticism. It needs your love and affection and compassion. And once we can give that to ourselves, we can move on. We can glow. We can be successful. We can reach our goals. So if you are feeling like you're in this process right now, if this is resonating with you, this is the time to work together. So I have a couple different options that I'm really excited. One, I made a really accessible program that's a year-long program, Manifesting Miracles. It is a membership that you do monthly. It includes coursework with me that you do at your own pace, and 4 seasonal sessions with me. So we do one for fall, winter, spring, and summer. And in between those deep dives where we dive in really, really deep, really beautifully, really deep into your astrological chart, the embodiment work, the somatic work, the belief work, it's all connected. We dive into those things, and then in between those sessions we do Voxer coaching, voice messaging back and forth. So this is a really great option for you if you're wanting coaching, you're really wanting to excel to the next level, but you can't quite figure out how to access high-level coaching. It seems out of reach. This membership, I don't want to say the price because I think I know, but I'm not going to say it, but it's like I think it's less than $500 a month. So if it's something that you can access and you feel excited about, message me and I can tell you more about it and get you those details that I don't have on hand right now, because I'm in Hawaii and I'm a little bit less connected to the numbers and the details. So that's one option. The other option is to get in a group program with me. I have Feminine Leadership starting August 26th. It is a fantastic program that takes you through each one of the feminine archetypes. It takes you through their archetype. It takes you through an activation of them in your psyche and in your body. And each week you have a group coaching session with me where I look at your chart and I tell you where this is living in your chart, how to kind of activate her even more and understand where maybe you're blocking her from doing her thing in your life. This is like the program that the most women are like, I want to do that again. That was amazing. I don't want this to end. Like, that's the program where I hear that the most. It is a 3-month group journey, so you get to know other people in the program, which is, I think, such a blessing in these times where everybody feels so isolated. So that starts August 26th. There's also a payment plan for that group coaching journey with me. So reach out if you're interested in that. So those are really 2 great ways to work with me. The most in-depth is working one-on-one with me in a 3-month coaching package, which includes 2 of my courses, which can include feminine leadership. So all that being said, if you're feeling like it's your time, it's time. Our time is limited here. At the same time, time is not running out for you. When we look at Saturn, Saturn has to do with time, and so I hear all the time people talking about running out of time, or I wish I had done this, or now time's running out, if I only had known. And I'm like, how to shift that? Like, really think about the fact that you're breathing and you're in this moment now. Hi, if you're just joining. And that means that there's an opportunity to change your beliefs, to grow, to choose something different. So Saturn has to do with our perception of time. He's the Lord of time. He's the great restrictor. He won't stop until you get the lesson. So something that we do in one-on-one coaching is we go through Saturn cycles in your life, in your own natal chart, and you'll start to see these beautiful, crazy, hard lessons. And everyone has them. And everyone's looks a little bit different based on the positioning and the placement and the sign that Saturn is in and what connections it makes to other places in your chart. But here's the thing. We came here to learn. We wouldn't be here if we weren't here to learn. And Saturn is our gateway to that. So if we can have that understanding and that beautiful connection to Saturn as our loving, strict guide, we do a lot better. And so know that Saturn's lessons are here to help you to be your best version of yourself and to actually do not what your ego thinks that you need or wants to do in this life, but actually what your soul lessons are in this lifetime. So I love working with Saturn. Saturn has been such a blessing in my life, and I love teaching about Saturn. So again, working with me one-on-one, I do a 3-month coaching package, and then I also do a 1-day deep dive intensive. So if you've been wanting to do that, definitely just send me a message or click the link in my profile. So today is the day where Saturn is opposing the Sun, and you want to look at where this axis is, 21 degrees of Leo and Aquarius, and really feel into your truth around where you maybe have been skirting responsibility, where you have been skirting limitations or lessons and kind of trying to go around them. And instead choose to just learn, choose to just be in it. And while Saturn can be both the light and the dark, so Saturn is the lessons, yes. And when we have strong Saturn placements in the chart, or someone who has strong Saturn placements or Capricorn placements in their chart, can overtake responsibility, can take on too much responsibility, can take on the weight of the world. And so we want to look at both. We want to look at the positive of Saturn being lessons. We want to look at the negative of where we can get critical, judgmental, fearful, and in lack around pretty much anything where you feel that way. So the Sun in Leo is really about our full creative self, our full joyful self. And I just did a reel today that was all about this. And we can choose to be hard on ourselves and focus on where we don't feel good enough, strong enough, smart enough, all the things, right? Like we can choose to focus on that and trying to fit the round peg in the square hole, or whatever that saying is. Or we can just know that we're different, that we were born different, that we were born here to do what we're passionate about, what we love, and we can choose to just focus on that and let the rest go. And that's what my work is all about. So if you're ready to do that, leave behind all the conditioning, the programs, and the limitations, let's work together. And if you're not ready, that's okay too. Stick around, and I love having you here, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And remember that there is the higher aspect of Saturn and the lower aspect of Saturn, and it's a balance of both. It's really being able to see it all and not fall into any beliefs or rigidness around, just like where you could have done better. Like we can spend so much of our time wasting in looking at how critical we are of ourselves, or why we shouldn't have done something, or we could have done something better. Or we can just show ourselves love and compassion and move forward. So I love you all. Thank you for being here. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'm so excited to see who jumps into Feminine Leadership. We start August 26th. And I will have more on that in my story later today. So you can learn more about that if you think you're ready to kind of be activated in a way that no one else, I don't think no other program right now is doing, where we really dive into each one of the feminine archetypes and where she lives in your own natal chart and how to activate her in your life so that you can be a stronger, better, more resilient leader. Let's go. I love you all. Take good care. And